Well, hello and welcome to our live telephone town hall meeting. Thank you for joining us. We're dialing out to the 33rd Congressional District of Texas right now. We have just a couple of folks who joined us early dialing in on our inbound participant line, but we're dialing out to over 45,000 of your fellow constituents in the 33rd Congressional District of Texas. We'll get started in our live forum in just a moment. Hang tight for the next couple minutes and I'll tell you how you can participate tonight. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, we're starting our dial out for a live virtual forum. We're dialing about 45,000 households in the 33rd Congressional District of Texas right now, and we'll start our live forum in just a moment. We just got a couple of folks early on the line who dialed in on the inbound line. Give us just a sec to start getting some live callers on, and we'll get started with this program. Again, thanks for joining and welcome. Welcome, folks, to this live telephone town hall meeting with the 33rd Congressional District of Texas tonight. Tonight we are joined by your Congressman, Mark Veasey, who is here to provide updates on what's happening in Washington, D.C. We'll hear from him shortly, and he'll also provide us with updates on the Emergency Broadband Benefit program and the upcoming Affordable Connectivity program that will replace it. We also have Edward Bartholomew here to share some information about the Emergency Broadband Benefit program that Representative Veasey introduced to Congress to help constituents get internet access to navigate the unique challenges of the pandemic. Ed's also here to go over the upcoming Affordable Connectivity program that will cement that assistance through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So, if you are struggling to attain quality internet access, tune in here for some important information. We'll be reviewing the program itself first, then we'll go over who qualifies for the program, and finally, we'll take a look at how to enroll. So we'll review all of that information for you, and then after that review, we'll take questions for both Representative Veasey and for Edward Bartholomew, who is here to discuss that broadband program. We will focus on getting better broadband access to more Americans during this forum. That'll be our primary subject matter, but you're welcome to submit questions on that or on any other topic. So if you have a question in mind for the Q&A portion of our forum tonight, all you have to do is press 0 on your phone and give your question to an operator. Once we hear these important updates, we will be going to questions from folks in the live audience, so listen in as we go through our review. And then as soon as you have a question to submit for Q&A, press 0 on your phone to give your question to an operator. You'll then have the opportunity to ask your question live in our forum tonight. But if that's not comfortable for you, just let your operator know when you press 0 to submit your question if you prefer to have me read your question over the air, whatever's more comfortable for you. You can also press 7 tonight to register for email updates from Congressman Veasey. We'll get your email address and make sure to keep you updated on the issues that affect the 33rd District of Texas in the future. So again, you can press 0 at any time to submit a question for Q&A. You can press 7 to register for email updates from Congressman Veasey and be kept updated on the issues that affect you moving forward. And again, we do have a special guest here to share information about the Emergency Broadband Benefit program that Representative Veasey introduced to Congress to help constituents get internet access to navigate the unique challenges of the pandemic over the last couple of years. Our guest is also going to go over the upcoming Affordable Connectivity program that will cement that assistance through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So if you struggle to attain quality internet access, it's going to be a really great opportunity for you to learn about this program and how to access it. So tune in for that information. And again, if you have any questions at any time during our forum, press 0, give it to an operator. You can ask your question live or let your operator know you want me to read it. You can also press 7 to get email updates from the Congressman's office. Let's get started right now, folks, and thank you again for joining us. I'm happy to start this live virtual forum with the 33rd Congressional District of Texas by turning it over to your Congressman, Mark Veasey. Please go ahead, Representative.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone. This is Mark Veasey, Congressman of the 33rd Congressional District, and I'd like to welcome you to the last telephone town hall of 2021. So thank you very much for joining us here this evening for a very important and timely discussion. I'm pleased to share with you that today's discussion will focus on recent efforts I've advocated for in Washington to help expand access to affordable, high-speed internet across Texas 33 and the country. And as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic shed light on the critical nature of access to reliable, high-speed, and more importantly, affordable internet service. And make no mistake, closing the digital divide is a significant challenge, but we know solutions exist, whether that means building out the necessary infrastructure required to connect unserved communities in rural parts of the country, or whether that means addressing affordability concerns so that low-income Americans can sign up for internet service, which we all agree is a must-have in today's economy, regardless of where you live, work, or go to school. We want the internet. We know that the internet is no longer optional. You can't participate in this economy without the endless resources and opportunities that become instantly available to households when connected online. And whether working remotely, attending classes online, or zooming into a telehealth appointment, it is crucial that Americans have access to and can afford quality internet service. The bottom line is that we know that access to high-speed internet can initiate economic growth. So let's connect every household in America to the internet so no American is denied the ability to participate in this economy. And again, thanks to the Biden administration and bipartisan support in Congress as we continue to move in the right direction as we build on economic recovery that we have seen this year. The newly passed Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act is a testament to that. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act delivers for the American people by making equitable investments such as expanding access to broadband, among other things. This is our biggest investment yet in closing the digital divide. It allocates $65 billion to various broadband initiatives at the federal, state, and local level. And through this targeted funding, Texas is set to receive $100 million to help with broadband internet expansion across the state as well. Moreover, this package builds on the success of the Emergency Broadband Benefit program, which is a first-of-its-kind program that I introduced in Congress in response to the pandemic to help everyone get connected online. The infrastructure package puts the initiative on more permanent footing and renames the EBB program to the Affordable Connectivity Program, January 1st, 2022. The bill allocates more than $14 billion for the FCC to fund this new long-term program that will help ensure households can afford internet service they need for work, school, telehealth, and so much more. That is why I am proud to be joined this evening by Ed Bartholome of the Federal Communications Commission, also known as the FCC, which is the agency spearheading these efforts. Ed serves as an associate bureau chief at the FCC and will be providing more information for us regarding the EBB and its future as it transitions into the ACP, or the Affordable Connectivity Program. So everybody from Stop 6, North Side, West Dallas, Dalworth and Grand Prairie, Irving, please pay close attention to what Ed has to say. We want everybody out there to be connected. Ed, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and thank you, Congressman. Very much appreciate you for bringing Edward Bartholome to our forum tonight to help us discuss this subject matter. Folks, I'll introduce Ed now, and he'll go ahead and answer some of our questions to get you up to speed on these programs, and then we'll jump into Q&A. So a reminder, if you have a question you'd like to submit for Q&A, you can press 0. Some of you already have, and thank you so much. But we'll be taking Q&A with Ed and the Congressman after a quick interview with Ed. Ed is the Associate Bureau Chief of the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau at the Federal Communications Commission, where he leads the Commission's education and outreach efforts, along with the Consumer Complaints and Inquiries Division. Prior to joining the FCC, Ed spent 10 years as the Executive Director and CEO of Call for Action, a national nonprofit network of hotlines serving consumers and small businesses. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Ed, anything you'd like to say for our audience before we get started?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. And as the Congressman mentioned in his opening remarks, this is really a timely opportunity to share information about both the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program and the upcoming Affordable Connectivity Program that will replace it. Both are designed to help households get and stay connected, and the pandemic has really shown us that broadband is no longer nice to have, it's need to have. It connects students to classrooms, individuals to remote work, and all of us to family, friends, telehealth services, and other critical resources. And as the Congressman mentioned, affordability can be a barrier. And these programs, the Emergency Broadband Benefit and the Affordable Connectivity Program, are really designed to address that issue by providing eligible households with a discount on their monthly internet bills.
Got it. Thank you, Ed. And again, thank you for joining us. Let's go ahead and start out at the beginning. So what is the Emergency Broadband Benefit?
So we finally call it the EBB. So the EBB is a temporary COVID-19 response program that Congress instructed the FCC to create. And that benefit provides eligible households with up to a $50 a month discount for broadband services, including equipment rentals such as modems. It goes up to $75 for households that are located on tribal lands. And the benefit can also provide eligible households with a one-time discount of up to $100 for a laptop, desktop computer, or tablet purchased through a participating provider if the household contributes more than 10 and less than 50 towards the purchase price. And this benefit, the EBB, is still available, and eligible households can enroll for it before December 31st of this year.
Got it. Thanks so much, Ed. Appreciate that. And folks, a reminder here that we'll go into Q&A and start taking some questions for both Ed and the Congressman when we get through this. Just a quick review. So Robert in Fort Worth, hang tight with us. You'll be our first question for Q&A. Next question for you, Ed. Who is eligible, and how do you qualify for the program, and where can people go for more information on that?
So let's start with where you can go for more information. It's fcc.gov/broadband benefit. So again, it's fcc.gov/broadband benefit. And there are 5 ways that a household can qualify. So a household is eligible if a member of the household meets one of the following criteria. They have an income that's at or below 135% of federal poverty guidelines, or they participate in certain assistance programs such as SNAP, Medicaid, or Lifeline. If someone in the household received a Pell Grant in the current award year, if any member of the household is approved to receive benefits under the free and reduced school lunch or breakfast programs. There are 2 COVID-specific ways to qualify, and that's if somebody had a job loss that resulted in a substantial loss of income, or a furlough that resulted in a loss of income since the beginning of the pandemic, and that household has a 2020 total income of $99,000 for single filers or $198,000 for joint filers. And the final way to qualify is meeting the eligibility criteria for a participating provider's existing low-income or COVID-19 program. And it's important to remember, households don't have to check all 5 of those boxes. They only need to meet one of those eligibility criteria to qualify for the benefit.
Great information. Thank you again, Ed. And so we've gone over what the program is and what makes somebody eligible for it. How do we sign up for the EBB if someone is eligible?
Right. So you can still do that before December 31st, and you can do so by going to getemergencybroadband.org. Again, that is getemergencybroadband.org. And you can submit an application or print out a mail-in application on that site. After you complete that application and you get your approval, you then need to contact your preferred provider. So the company that you already have broadband service with, or the company that you want to get broadband service from, to then have the discount applied to your account.
Appreciate you again, Ed. Thanks so much. And final question for you before we start going into Q&A. You mentioned a new program. So what will be changing as we switch to that new program?
So, right, we talked some about the Affordable Connectivity Program, and it is replacing the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program at the end of this year. So the great thing is that the new program, as the Congressman mentioned, this is a long-term program. It's not a temporary program like the Emergency Broadband Benefit was. It will reduce the monthly discount down to $30 instead of $50 for most households. But there are additional ways that households can qualify under the new Affordable Connectivity Program. It raises the income limits to 200% of federal poverty guidelines, and it adds WIC as a qualifying program that can get households in and eligible to receive the Affordable Connectivity Program benefit.
Very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for answering all of our questions, and thanks again for being here with us, Ed. Folks, we're going to jump into Q&A now, so if you have any questions for Mr. Bartholomew, again, he's here to answer questions specifically about the Emergency Broadband Benefit and the Affordable Connectivity Program that will replace it. So if you have any follow-up questions, you can press 0 on your phone, submit those questions to an operator, or if you have any questions for Representative Veasey. We have Robert, Roy, and Leslie May all in line with questions for you, Ed, so hang tight. We're going to start with those. One more quick reminder, though, 0 for questions, and if you'd like to get email updates from the Congressman's office, you can press 7 on your phone. Go to an operator and give them your best email address. So 0 for questions, 7 to get email updates. And our first question for you is coming live from Robert in Fort Worth. Let's get him up now. Robert,
Yes,
thank you for joining us. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I'm Robert Munkus. I'm a disabled Air Force veteran from 76 to 1980. Okay. I've got 2 fractured heels. I get disability insurance. Okay. I've got problems making my rent. Okay. I got hood bash. I have problems. You don't have my phone broke on me, and I can't get no other broadband from anybody else. I'm limited to what I can do. I'd like to know what kind of assistance you can provide for a disabled veteran. Thank you.
Got it. So you're wondering if there's a way that you can get this internet access as a disabled vet?
Yes, at an affordable cost.
Got it. All right. Thank you, Robert. Can you take that one on for us, Ed? And Congressman, welcome to jump in at any time, too.
Sure. Happy to jump in. So let me first start by thanking you for your service. Specific to your situation, so Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, is a qualifying program that can get you eligible for the Emergency Broadband Benefit. So if you go to the getemergencybroadbandbenefit.org website and complete an application, I believe that you would qualify for that benefit, and then you would have $50 that you can start applying to your broadband service after you're qualified. And there are a number of providers who are participating in Texas. You can't be denied the benefit or participation in the program because of a prior past due balance with a provider. So even if you're in arrears with an existing service provider, you can still qualify for EBB and start to have that applied to your bill. And like I said, there are over 50 participating providers in Texas. Some offer wireline services, others offer wireless services, and you can find a list of those on that website as well. There's a tool there called Companies Near Me, where you can enter your zip code and find the providers who provide service in that area.
Got it. And one more time, Ed, what's the website that you can go to start that enrollment process?
It's getemergencybroadband.org.
Got it. And folks, I'm sure we'll mention that plenty more times, but if you're not able to write down any of these websites or phone numbers that we've mentioned, you're also welcome to press 0 or 7 and speak to an operator, and they can repeat that info for you if you missed it. Thank you again, Ed, and thank you for that first question from Robert. We're going to go to Roy live next. Roy, thank you for joining us from Irving. You're live on the line. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Well, thank you for calls tonight. I was curious when I first heard about this. I was thinking more like the rural electric, where it brought electricity to the rural areas for the first time. Going now, for all those who are listening, that's a century ago. It appears for me what this is like is unending tie to the government. When are you going to, it's nice to have this and the requirement, but public libraries are still available. I think there's just an overreach of the government, Mr. Veasey, just like the Build Back Broke bills that you're sponsoring. Is there an end date to having this subsidy stop?
Representative, can you take on Roy's question here?
No, I appreciate Roy's question. Roy, it's hard in the world that we live in today if you're not connected to put yourself in a place to where you won't need any assistance. And so what my hope is that enough people enroll in the program, take advantage of the benefit, and use it as a way to help themselves start a small business, look for scholarships online. All of those things are tools that can be used to help ultimately better your situation and better your lot in life. And so that's really the what we're trying to do is give people a chance not to be on this forever, but to make it to where they don't have to be on this forever. And so that's the point behind this. If you are an individual and you come from a family with means, and you come from a family that already has these things, you have such an advantage over people that don't have access to this. You probably heard the stories on the news yourself about Roy, about kids, young kids going to Taco Bell and going to other fast food restaurants and sitting outside so they can get their free Wi-Fi to do their homework during the pandemic. We just don't want people to be in that type of situation, and we want people to to be able to improve themselves. I think that all parents, regardless of even what income they may happen to be, we want our kids to do better than us. And so if you find yourself in a situation to where you have kids and you're low income and you're struggling, what a better way to ensure that your young person doesn't have to struggle the same way by giving them access to the internet.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you, Congressman. And thank you, Roy. Appreciate you being a part of our forum here. We'll go ahead and move to our next question in just a moment here. But I wanted to run our first polling question before we get to that. We've got several polling questions. It'll be your opportunity, if you're not submitting a question today, to give us some feedback on these programs, and we really do appreciate it. So let's go ahead and run our first one, and then we'll just go back and forth between Q&A and these polls. We've got Leslie May and Sharice in line next for questions, so hang tight, ladies. Thanks again for being with us. First polling question is this. Is this your first time hearing about the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Again, is this your first time hearing about the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Again, thanks so much for voting in that poll. We'll have another one in just a moment here. Let's get Leslie May up next from Fort Worth. Hey, Leslie May, what's your question for us?
I want to know that if you're in a bundle and you have the internet, do that apply for you also?
Got it. Thank you, Leslie May. Ed, can you take this one for us?
Sure. So the Emergency Broadband Benefit can be applied to bundle broadband services. So it has to have broadband or internet service as part of the bundle. But if it does, it might be eligible for the Emergency Broadband Benefit. One important thing to know is that with the EBB program, the program that we're currently under, providers did have discretion as to which programs that the benefit might apply to. But one of the changes under the Affordable Connectivity Program, and that's the program that starts right at the first of the year next year, they will be required to make this available on all of their offerings. So if you call today and they say that your current plan doesn't qualify, you're likely to get a different answer after the first of the year under the Affordable Connectivity Program.
Got it. Thank you again, Ed. Appreciate that answer. Thank you, Leslie May, for reaching out with the question. Let's get another polling question in here, then we'll go to Sharice live. Next question for you is this. If you are already enrolled in the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, will you continue to stay on it in 2022? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Again, if you're already enrolled in the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, will you continue to stay on it in 2022? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Let's get our next question up while you're voting on that from Sharice in Dallas. Hey, Sharice, welcome to the call. Go ahead, please.
Yes. I wanted to know a list of companies that offer that accept the broadband income.
You can just call it EBB. That's what we're all calling it, Sharice.
Right. EBB. I wanted to know what companies accept the EBB.
Got it. Ed, can you take that one for us? What companies are participating
Sure.
in that EBB program?
Yep, happy to. And I think I'm going to save some time because there's a list of like 70 that I could read off for the state of Texas alone. But what I'll do is I'll tell you, if you go to the fcc.gov/broadband benefit webpage, you can find a link there. And that link will take you to a list of providers that are operating in your state. Spectrum, AT&T, Comcast, T-Mobile, Verizon, Boost, many of the sort of companies that you think of when you think of broadband service or internet service are participating. And there's a lot of, I know Texas has a lot of smaller regional providers, and we have a lot of those on this list as well. So I encourage you to go to fcc.gov/broadband benefit. There you'll find a link where you can look at the providers participating by state.
Perfect. Thank you again, Ed. And for anybody who may have missed that, again, I'll read it for you one more time here, fcc.gov/broadband benefit. And if you're having trouble keeping up with anything and writing it down, you can always press 0 or 7 and speak to an operator and let them know what you missed so that they can read it off for you at a pace you can write it down. And I'll mention one more time here, you can press 0 to submit a question, 7 to get email updates from Congressman Veasey. Let's go to one more poll here, and then we've got Joshua live next. Next polling question for you is this. Are you interested in applying for emergency broadband benefit credits for a laptop, tablet, or desktop computer? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Again, are you interested in applying for emergency broadband benefit credits for a laptop, tablet, or desktop computer? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Go ahead and vote on that one. Again, we've got lots more polling questions. We've got about 30 minutes left in our live forum. We're going to Joshua in Fort Worth next. Joshua, thanks for waiting. You're live.
Hello. Like I said, I'm very familiar with like the 5G processes right now. And with the process that we have, we're using the broadband, but a lot of the frequencies that are the lower frequencies, they used to be the freer frequencies, are actually being ran or taken over by the larger companies. So if they do get on this program, are they guaranteed to keep a steady speed, or are they going to have to go with one of the big providers that's guaranteed to have that bandwidth given to them?
Great question. Thank you, Joshua. Ed, can you take this one as well?
So when it comes to speed in terms of what's being offered as part of the EBB, and then as we look ahead to the Affordable Connectivity Program, providers have different packages and different service tiers that do offer different speeds, and that's both larger providers and smaller providers. And there are different programs available, different speed tiers available to households that qualify. So it doesn't restrict participating households to lower speed tiers. So I think you might be thinking of some of the before the EBB, a number of providers had income-based programs that were designed to provide low-cost internet options, and often they were limited to a certain speed tier that might have somewhat slower speeds than other tiers that were commercially available. This discount can be applied to different packages. It doesn't sort of lock you into one, limited, slower speed service offering.
Great to hear. Appreciate you answering that one, and thank you for that question. We're going to go to Marcus and then Abby, but let's go ahead and get another polling question out of the way here next. This one is, do you struggle to pay your monthly internet bill? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Again, do you struggle to pay your monthly internet bill? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Oh, and I'm sorry, we actually had Robert lined up from Fort Worth next, so let me go ahead and get him up here with our next question. Hey, Robert, thank you for waiting. You're live. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, gentlemen, and thank you for taking my question. So my husband and I are going to be selling our house here pretty quickly, and do you consider a household an RV, and am I eligible because I'm a legally blind person who is on disability?
Okay, so you're wondering if you can get it. Okay, great. Yeah, go ahead, Ed.
Yes, a couple things to speak to there. The disability issue. It's likely that you would qualify if you receive supplemental security or supplemental disability income through the SSI program. Also, you may qualify based on some of the other income limitations that are established for the EBB and ACP as participants. On your question about the RV being your address, your permanent address, the program does have a definition for household, and when you do the application, in addition to entering a physical address, you can also use a mapping tool. So if there's a place where your RV is going to be primarily located, or that you'll be with your RV for an extended period of time, you can actually drop a pin on a map to indicate where that is, and that might be a way that you can show your address for the purposes of this program.
Great info again. Thank you so much, Ed. And thank you to Robert in Fort Worth for our last one. We're going to go to Marcus in Arlington for our next one after another quick poll. We want to know, how do you usually access the Internet? Press 1 if you access it on your mobile device. Press 2 if you access on a computer at your house. Press 3 if you access on a portable laptop. Again, how do you normally access the Internet? Press 1 if you normally access on your mobile phone. Press 2 if you access on a computer at your house. Press 3 if you access on a portable laptop. Thanks again for all this feedback. Very helpful, and thank you, everybody who's participating tonight. We're on to Marcus in Arlington. Hey, Marcus, thank you for waiting. You're live.
Yes, thank you. My question is, with the EBB program, I know you said you can get approved to up to $50 on it, if I'm correct. But what I wanted to know is that for everybody, or is it like a percentage of what your bill is? For instance, if you pay only $66, could that $50 still go to you as far as the discount goes?
Right. So if you qualify for the program, you get up to $50. So in your example, if you have the $66 a month bill, you would get the full $50. If someone had a $40 a month internet bill, they would the benefit would cover the full $40, and they don't get the extra $10 as a pass through or as a payment to the household. So it will cover the bill in full up to $50, and if the bill is over $50, the household would be responsible for paying the difference.
Got it. Appreciate you clarifying that, and thank you again, Marcus, for your question. Yeah, go ahead.
And also, I was going to say, and also remember too that when the program transitions to the Affordable Connectivity Program, that $50 discount to households will see a decrease of $20, but the same rule that Ed was just going over would certainly apply.
Got it. Thank you, Representative Veasey. Appreciate you clarifying that as well. And thanks again to Marcus. We're going to go to our next polling question, and we've got Abby lined up in Q&A. Our next question for you is this: how would you rate your Internet access? Press 1 if it's good, 2 if it's fair, 3 if it's poor, and 4 if you don't have Internet access. So again, how would you rate your Internet access? Press 1 for good, 2 for fair, 3 for poor, and 4 if you don't have access to the Internet. Go ahead and vote on that poll now. Again, we're going to get our next question up from Abby here next. Abby, thanks for waiting. You're live.
Hello, Representative Veasey, and thank you so much for this town hall, and thank all of everybody who's answering questions and answering the phone. My question is, when I heard about the EBB program, I read about it in the AARP magazine, and I'm in Fort Worth, so I called Spectrum, and they got me into the program. And now I'm just finding out about the laptop, and I wondered, would I call Spectrum again, or could you give me that information so that I could try to access the laptop?
Ed or yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a great question. It's important to know that the laptop or the connected device, so again, laptop, desktop, or a tablet, needs to be provided by the same company that you're getting your monthly service discount through with the program. So I think you mentioned that your charters, who you're working with for your monthly service discount, they would also need to be the company that provides you with the connected device in order for it to qualify for the discount under this program. So reach out to Charter and ask them if that's something they're offering and how you could maybe take advantage of it.
All right. Thank you so much. It's my first time hearing about that.
Yes, absolutely. We appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. All right. We're going to take a quick moment here. We've got some more questions lined up for Q&A, but Ed, we've had some folks join us since we started this call about 36 minutes ago, and I'm wondering if we can do just a quick review of the program again so that anybody who missed that information can get it real quick here. So do you mind if I go through our interview one more time?
Sure. Not a problem at all.
All right, let's do it. So going back to the very beginning, can you tell us again what the Emergency Broadband Benefit is?
So the Emergency Broadband Benefit was a temporary COVID-19 response program that Congress instructed the FCC to create, and it provides eligible households with up to a $50 a month discount for broadband services, or it goes up to $75 if the household's located on tribal lands. And it can also provide a one-time discount of up to $100 off of a laptop, desktop computer, or tablet computer purchased through a participating provider if the household contributes more than 10 and less than 50 towards the purchase. And it's important to note that that program, you can still enroll for the Emergency Broadband Benefit program up until December 31st of this year.
Got it. Perfect. Excellent. And who is eligible for that program, and how do they qualify for the program, and where can they go for information on how to qualify?
So you can find all the details on how to qualify and also the link for how to apply by visiting fcc.gov/broadband benefit. And there are 5 ways for households to apply. So if anyone in the household has an income that is at or below 135% of federal poverty guidelines, or participates in certain assistance programs such as SNAP, Medicaid, or Lifeline, if anyone in the household received a Pell Grant in the current award year, if someone's approved to receive benefits under the free and reduced school lunch or breakfast programs, or specific to this, the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it's tied to the COVID pandemic, if someone had a job loss or furlough that occurred after around March 1st of 2020 or later, and the household had an income totaling $99,000 for single filers or $198,000 for joint filers in 2020, they would qualify. And also, if anybody in the household meets the eligibility criteria for a participating provider's existing low-income or COVID-19 program. And it's important to note that you only need to meet one of those criteria, not all of them, in order to qualify for the benefit.
All right. Thanks again, Ed. How do we sign up for the EBB? Can you go over that one more time for us?
Yep. So if you want to sign up, you can go to getemergencybroadband.org and fill out an online application or print a mail-in application out. So again, that's getemergencybroadband.org. And once you've completed the application and you have your approval, it's important to do the second step. And that second step is to contact the provider that you want to get the discount with. So either your current internet provider or an internet provider that you want service from. Let them know that you've qualified, share their application information with them, and then they can start to apply that discount to your monthly service bill.
Perfect. Thank you again. Appreciate you going over that review with us, Ed, and we will jump back into Q&A now. We've got 20 minutes left, folks, so I wanted to mention one more time, this will be the last call to submit questions by pressing 0. So if you have a question for Q&A, press 0. And if you would like to get email updates from the Congressman's office, be sure to press 7 and give your best email address to one of our operators so we can keep you updated on this and other programs that affect you. We've got Alice live from Fort Worth. Alice, go ahead, please.
Yes, I was just wanting to know, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you too. I just wanted to know, I'm a low-income, woman, and I've got one leg, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm raising a 14-year-old great-grandson, and he goes to school online. And I wanted to know, I get SSI, but I get $63 worth. Plus I get my veterans, my late husband's pension. So I was wondering, would that be enough to qualify to get a discount on my son's laptop?
Thank you, Alice. Ed, can you take that from Alice in Fort Worth for us?
Sure. So you mentioned that you receive a veteran's pension or survivor benefit, and that is one of the qualifying programs for both the Emergency Broadband Benefit that lasts until the end of this year and the upcoming Affordable Connectivity Program. So if you go to that website, getemergencybroadband.org, or if you call 833-511-0311. Again, that's 833-511-0311. You can start the application process, get enrolled, and then you would get, again, up to the $50 benefit from now until the EBB program ends, and then you would transition to a $30 a month benefit, which would cover most of your current internet bill.
Got it. All right. Thank you again. And Alice, that phone number one more time, 833-511-0311. And we'll go to our next polling question. This one is going to be, if you have internet at home, are you satisfied with your internet service provider? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Again, if you have internet at home, are you satisfied with your service provider? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Let's go ahead and go to Cynthia. And Cynthia, this is on a little different subject matter. Sorry we made you wait so long. We wanted to go over EBB and answer as many of those questions as we could, but we've got you live now. It looks like you've got a question for the Congressman. Cynthia, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Do you want me to read your question, or are you good to ask yourself?
No, I can ask myself, but thank you for offering.
Of course. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I am 63 years of age. And first, good evening, everyone. And I chose to retire early, so that you see that puts me in the gap for Medicare. I did go online and apply at the healthcare.gov insurance. And after looking at several plans, I was told that the plans were based on what state you live. And Texas was considered as one of the worst states for us finding a good plan for its cost. And I was advised to contact my congressman with that issue. She said it was a lot of political involved. And that's pretty much everything today.
Got it, Cynthia. Yeah, thank you for asking this one. Go ahead, Representative.
Yes, Cynthia, I really appreciate your question. And there certainly were some things in Texas that could have been done to help enhance some of those options. But I do want to encourage you, if you are having any issues. You said you lived in Fort Worth, Cynthia?
Yes, I live in Fort Worth as well.
Okay, please call the district office, my district office, at 817.
Let me get my pen again, because I've been taking notes.
Okay.
Just here briefly. Because the plan that I chose, believe it or not, is $1,000 deductible. The better the benefit, the higher the deductible. That's how it's going. And she said that Texas is considered one of the worst.
Yeah. And because we didn't expand Medicaid in our state, we have that issue. It was a huge public policy blunder that the state legislature didn't correct. And then, I say correct, that they didn't take advantage of that would have helped individuals such as yourself. So, but as far as just if you're having any issues navigating the system, please call our office at 817-920-9086, and we can get you in contact with a navigator or a nonprofit that may be able to answer some of those questions about the different providers out there that you may be able to choose from.
Perfect. Thank you, Representative. Very much appreciate that. And thank you for reaching out, Cynthia. Cynthia, I'm going to read that number one more time, but also mention that when we get to the end of our forum in about 15 minutes, anybody on the line is welcome to leave a message for Congressman Veasey's office, and we can have somebody follow back up with you on your question directly. Or, again, that district phone number again in Fort Worth is 817-920-9086. And I wanted to take a quick moment here to mention to Johnny in Dallas, we've got you marked up for some follow-up. It looks like we need to reach out you directly to deal with your issues, so we'll have one of the Congressman's staffs follow up with you. Johnny in Dallas, you can expect that in the next few days. Let's go to our next question.
Let me say, before we go to the next question, let me say this too, because I think that this is important. I've been talking a lot about Build Back Better, and if we are able to get Build Back Better passed in the Senate and signed into law and sent to President Biden's desk, it's going to help expand coverage with Medicaid. And so people that fall into that donut hole, into that gap that I just talked about a little bit earlier, more will be covered if we can get that final push and get BBB passed. And I'm feeling confident that eventually that we will get it passed sooner rather than later. But we're waiting on the Senate to act. Of course, many of you that have been following Build Back Better or BBB know that it passed in the House, and so now it sits in the Senate, and hopefully we can get it passed in the Senate and get sent to the president's desk, so we can help people with those issues around health care coverage.
Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much for mentioning that. That was a topic of a forum we did recently, folks. I'm sure many of you were on that live teletown hall. Kenneth, it looks like you've got a question about some current legislation as well. It looks like you're from Fort Worth. Go ahead, sir. Kenneth, we still got you there on the line? All right. He might have walked away from his phone here, Congressman. Kenneth's asking, where does the Congressman stand on the voting rights bill? Do you want to give any maybe a preview of that voting rights bill and then talk a little bit about your stance on it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was the co-sponsor of the John Lewis voting rights bill. I'm a huge proponent of the bill. We already are seeing a lot of ramifications of not being under pre-clearance for this round of redistricting, congressional redistricting, state legislative redistricting, and in addition to state legislative redistricting, local offices like Justice of the Peace and Constable, all of these, the way these lines are being drawn now, unfortunately negatively impact a lot of communities of color and split up communities of interest unnecessarily because we no longer have to get maps pre-cleared, is what they would call it, which is the proper terminology. We no longer have to get these maps pre-cleared with the Justice Department, and so it's a big problem, and hopefully we can get it passed. So any future laws that would make it harder for people to vote, like we're seeing the state of Texas do and other southern states, and even a few Midwestern states do, we want to make sure that they have to get these laws pre-cleared first before they can be put into effect.
Got it. Thank you so much, and appreciate that last question. We're going to jump to our next one. We've got Janice, who's been waiting for a while. She asked me to read this question for you, Congressman. She said, I had applied for EBB online. It did not accept my application. There is an individual in my household who does get food stamps and SSI. So I should qualify. Can I call someone to have this resolved? So, Ed, maybe you can take this one on for it. Does it sound like Janice would qualify for EBB?
To me, it does, and I think I would definitely offer to follow up with Janice if we can get some information, and so we can provide some direct assistance to get her through the application process. For others who are having similar challenges, the best way to check on your application status or to get questions about your application resolved is to call 833-511-0311. And if you have a complaint that involves your provider, so maybe the bill isn't what you expected or the service isn't, you're not happy with the speeds or you have other service issues, you can always come to the FCC and file a complaint at consumercomplaints consumercomplaints.fcc.gov. Again, that's consumercomplaints.fcc.gov.
Got it. I'll repeat that information for everybody one more time. The phone number to check eligibility was 833-511-0311, and then it was consumercomplaints.fcc.gov if what you paid for doesn't seem like it's what you should have gotten. So thank you, Janice. Appreciate you reaching out with this question, and we'll go to our next one live from Angela. We'll have our next polling question up after this. Hey, Angela, you're in Fort Worth. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I'm single. I don't have any dependent children. I don't receive any kind of government assistance, but I'm a child care teacher. So I was wanting to know, is there any benefits available for child care workers and teachers?
Got it. What a great question. Representative Veasey, do you want to take this one on for Angela in Fort Worth, or Ed, do you want to start in on whether she would qualify for EBB?
I'll let Ed, see whether she qualifies based on, questions on 200% poverty level and what have you. But, obviously we want as many people to apply as possible. And then I also want to remind you that one of the things that I did early on in March 2020 when we passed the CARES Act was that I fought really hard on Energy and Commerce Committee to get City of Fort Worth $158 million in federal stimulus money, and they used $5 million of those dollars that I got them to help expand Wi-Fi into 4 neighborhoods, and they can use the city's Wi-Fi network at no charge. And so I just want to remind everybody of that. That was $5 million that I worked very hard on Capitol Hill to get for 4 neighborhoods in Fort Worth, and they were even able to expand it to the Como neighborhood, which is outside of the 33rd Congressional District. And so residents over there also can take advantage of it. And so if you have any questions about that, call our office up, again, the 817-920-9086, and we can definitely connect you with the right government agency. The right government agency. We can actually connect you with the right department at the City of Fort Worth to help you learn more about that. And while we're on that topic, I did want to also remind everyone that if you don't have internet access right now, please reach out to friends and family and fill out an application online. Or get an application printed out for the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program so you can get signed up. And I just also want to remind everybody is that the FCC, if you go to their website, they also have a version of the application in Espanol. So we want everyone that lives in the 33rd District, both Spanish speakers and longtime residents to take advantage of this program by making sure that they sign up. And Ed, if you want to jump in and see if you can qualify her, that'd be great.
So I think the congressman was spot on with the advice to go to our website and take a look at those eligibility criteria, that we have listed there to see if you might qualify. Another program that may be able to help with your specific situation since you are a teacher. So this is another FCC program that Congress instructed the agency to create, and it's the Emergency Connectivity Fund. And that program was designed to provide students and teachers with off-campus access to internet services. So you may know about the E-rate program. That's where we provide connectivity to schools and libraries and other community institutions. This program was specifically for providing connectivity, in response to the pandemic, really, for students and teachers when they were off campus. And you can learn more about that by visiting our website, and it's fcc.gov/emergency-connectivity-fund. So that might be an avenue for you to look into as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking that one on for us, both Congressman Veasey and Ed. Thanks very much. Angela, for your question, for being a part of our forum. Folks, we've got about 5 minutes left. We've got time for one more poll, then one more question, then I'll give the Congressman a few minutes to offer any closing thoughts he might have. Last polling question for you is this. The bipartisan infrastructure bill was recently signed into law and will provide millions to update our nation's infrastructure. What do you think is the most important investment that package makes? Press 1 if you think it's repairing roads and bridges. Press 2 if you think it's investing in public transit and rail. Press 3 if you think it's expanding broadband. Press 4 if you think it's securing clean water for our children. And press 5 if you think it's preparing infrastructure for the impacts of climate change. So again, the bipartisan infrastructure bill was recently signed into law. It will provide millions to update our nation's infrastructure. What's the important investment that this package makes to you? Press 1 for repairing roads and bridges. Press 2 for investing in public transit and rail. Press 3 for expanding broadband. Press 4 for securing clean water for our children. And press 5 for preparing infrastructure for the impacts of climate change. Really appreciate you voting in all of these polls. That'll be our last one tonight, but we do appreciate that feedback. So thanks to those of you who voted in all of our polls. We've got time for one more question from Victor in Fort Worth. Victor, thank you for waiting, sir. You're live. Go ahead.
Thank you for accepting my question, and thank you, Mark Veasey, for all the work that you've done for us in your area. But my question is this. Is there a specific time to sign up for this program, or can you join at any time in case of a loss of job or something like that?
Ed, you want to jump in there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. So there's a couple things. One, the first is the Emergency Broadband Benefit. That program will end on December 31st of this year. So if you're eligible, I encourage you to sign up for that now, since that has a shorter lifespan. It was a COVID response program, and it's transitioning to a longer program. That's the Affordable Connectivity Program. That program will open for enrollment on the 31st of December this year, and that gets to what you're talking about. That's when you are eligible, when you need it. That will be a longer-term program that's there to provide that benefit to eligible households when they're eligible and when they need to sign up.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much, and thank you to Victor in Fort Worth for our last question of the evening. We're going to go ahead and start wrapping it up here. I'll turn it over to the Congressman for closing thoughts in a moment, but I wanted to mention that if you need constituent assistance, if you need to reach out to the Congressman's office, you can call the district office in Fort Worth at 817-920-9086. Again, that's the district office in Fort Worth, and you can learn more about the Congressman's work in D.C. at veasey.house.gov. Again, that's Veasey, VEASEY.house.gov. All right. Sorry, one more thing. If you need constituent assistance and you don't want to call that number, you can also just leave a message by staying on the line in a moment. Leave your name, your contact information, and the nature of your concern, and the Congressman's staff will be able to reach back out to you over the next few days. All right. Representative Veasey, go ahead and take us to the close here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And Ed, thank you very much. Ed Bartholomew, really appreciate all of your insight and comments. I think this information was very useful to the constituency in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in the 33rd Congressional District. Look, we want to get as many people signed up as possible. It's just hard to even function, to do anything, to pay bills, to sign up for scholarships, apply for jobs without having broadband connection. And so expanding broadband is something that I'm going to continue to fight for. That's why I fought so hard to get the city of Fort Worth the money that they received so people could connect into their Wi-Fi system. And why I fought so hard for the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. This is the future, and you can't participate in the future unless you have access to to broadband, or it's going to be much harder to participate. And we want to make it as easy for people as possible to be able to participate in this new world, this new economy that we're all trying to navigate. And so thank you for everyone for taking the time. Please spread the word. We need your participation in this program. If you have any questions, please call our office, 817-920-9086. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everyone in the 33rd Congressional District.